All right, let's talk about one of the most powerful and honestly misunderstood ways to build wealth, the stock market. We're going to break down everything you actually need to know in plain English so you can get started. Let's just dive right in. So let's just get this out of the way first. There's this idea that you need to be some kind of Wall Street genius or have a ton of cash lying around to even think about investing, that it's all super complicated and not for regular people. Well, I'm here to tell you that is completely 100% wrong. In fact, if you have a single dollar and a smartphone, you have everything you need to become an investor. Like right now, today, it's never been easier to get started. But okay, when you put that dollar in, what are you actually buying? Okay, first things first. To get the market, you have to get its most basic building block. So what on earth is a stock, anyway? It sounds kind of intimidating, I know, but once you get this one simple idea, everything else just clicks into place. A stock, which you'll also hear called a share, is literally just a tiny piece of ownership in a company. When a huge business like Apple or Nike wants to grow, they sell millions of these little pieces to people like us. So when you buy one, you literally become a part owner of that business. This donut is the perfect way to picture it. The entire company is the whole donut. When you buy a share, you're buying one tiny slice. And here's the most important part. Your fate is now tied to the company's. If the business does well and gets more valuable, your slice is worth more. If it struggles, well, your slice loses value. That's the whole game in a nutshell. Okay, so you own a tiny piece of a company. Got it. But where do you actually go to buy or sell these pieces? That's where the market part of stock market comes into play. Honestly, the best way to think about the stock market is just as a giant marketplace. It's kind of like an eBay, but instead of trading collectibles, millions of people get together every single day to buy and sell these little pieces of companies from each other. It's really no more complicated than that. Now, you don't physically go to a big building like the New York Stock Exchange. No, you get to these markets right from your phone using an app called a brokerage. So apps like Fidelity or Robinhood, think of those as your personal gateway to the whole investing world. All right, to get around in this world, you've got to know a little bit of the lingo. You're going to hear these terms all the time, so let's quickly cover the essentials. It'll help you follow pretty much any conversation about finance. First up, portfolio. This just sounds like a fancy word, but all it means is the collection of all your investments. So if you own a share of Apple and a share of Nike, and maybe an index fund, all of that stuff together, that's your portfolio. Simple as that. Next up, dividends. And this is where things get pretty cool. This is where you can get paid just for owning a stock. Some of the big, stable companies will actually share their profits directly with their owners, and that's you. They'll literally send you a cash payment, usually every 3 months, just as a thank you for being an investor. You've definitely heard these on the news: bull market and bear market. It's super simple. A bull market is when everyone's feeling good and prices are generally going up. Just think of a bull's horns thrusting up. A bear market is the opposite. People are scared and prices are going down. Just picture a bear's paw swiping down. It's a really easy way to remember which way things are heading. Okay, so you know what a stock is, but which one should you buy? Picking the one right company out of thousands is incredibly hard, even for the pros. And you've heard the saying, right? You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket.
So what's the answer? What if you could just skip the pressure of trying to pick that one magic stock? What if you could buy a tiny piece of all the big companies, all at the same time?
Well, you can. It's called an index fund. An index fund is just one single investment that automatically buys you a small piece of hundreds or even thousands of companies all at once. The most famous one is the S&P 500 Index Fund, which owns stock in the 500 biggest companies in the US. And this is why it matters. Instead of betting on one horse, you're betting on the entire race. It's the strategy that even Warren Buffett recommends for most people. So now that you've got the basics down, let's talk strategy. Because success in investing isn't about making brilliant moves. It's mostly about just avoiding the really common mistakes. And these 3 golden rules will help you do exactly that. Let's break these down, because this is so important. Rule 1 is all about time. The market goes up and down a lot in the short term, so you only want to invest money you know you won't need for at least a few years. That gives your money time to ride out the bumps. Rule 2 is about consistency. Trying to time the market, buying at the perfect low and selling at the perfect high, it's a fool's game. It's so much better to just invest a little bit on a regular schedule. And rule 3, well, this might be the most important one of all. Boring wins. That is the secret. Building real wealth in the stock market is nothing like the movies.
It is not about frantic trading or chasing hot tips. It's about the surprisingly boring strategy of picking something simple like an index fund, adding to it consistently over many, many years, and just letting time do heavy lifting. Slow and steady really does win this race. And that's really it. You now have the foundation to understand how all of this works. We've covered what a stock is, where you buy it, and the simple rules to follow. So let's just do a quick recap of the biggest takeaways. If you remember nothing else from this, remember these 5 things. Stocks are just ownership. The market is just the store where you buy them. The key is to buy consistently, spread out your risk with things like index funds, and always, always, always think long term. You see, you don't need to be a genius to build wealth. You just need a simple plan and the patience to stick with it. You now have the blueprint. So the only question left is, are you ready to take that first step? In our next explainer, we'll walk through exactly how to open your very first brokerage account step by step. I'll see you there.